The thunderous Victoria Falls is representative of the finest tourism destinations on the African continent. Hundreds of thousands of international tourists flock to this much-loved cascade on the Zambezi River bordering Zimbabwe and Zambia. There is much to occupy the time spent by tourists in this region, and millions of valuable foreign currencies are invested here annually. African countries are, however, beset by various insect plagues, including an array of life-threatening diseases transmitted via insects like mosquitoes and flies, and other creatures like worms, slugs, snakes, spiders, crocodiles, and a host of others. Well-known diseases are instantly identified as inherent dangers to tourism and include malaria, bilharzia, and yellow fever, to name but a few. In short, Africa is a dangerous place to visit. Unlucky foreigners beset by any of the diseases or afflictions mentioned also have to contend with the possibility of the onset of defects like heart disease. Bush pilots are synonymous with extracting patients from across Africa and bringing them to the medical hub of the continent, South Africa.
I think that most pilots are in fact doomed to aviation in the sense that they have such a passion for flying that they have to fly. And I must say that I am a victim, and I really need to fly, want to fly, love to fly. And I think that I've probably selected the best kind of flying that one can do in commercial aviation, which is your medical rescue.
Netcare 911 operates one of the largest aeromedical wings in Africa, consisting of a comprehensive fleet of fixed-wing propeller and jet-powered aircraft.
Differences between turbine aircraft, jet aircraft, the turboprop aeroplanes are a lot more powerful than the piston aeroplanes and a lot more capable. They also still have the short field capability which we require to get into short strips. Jet aircraft faster and therefore also become a little bit more clumsy and more difficult to take into shorter strips. The excitement about turboprop aeroplanes is that you're really going back to your bush flying, whereas the excitement in the jet aeroplanes is that you're going to your further destinations, your more exotic destinations.
It's not important to have a good pilot, it's imperative that you have a good pilot. We often fly into Africa where north of our borders air traffic control is virtually non-existent, radar is non-existent, and your only communications that you do have with your destination are usually by high-frequency radio, which is very unreliable at the best of time. Having a pilot who you can have confidence in, who you know will get you to your destination safely, makes it possible for you to concentrate on the work that you're doing in the back and not worry about what's happening outside. What we must remember is that flying into Africa in an aircraft as well equipped as this one is, we are 99% of the times, we are more or better equipped than any of the hospitals that we are flying into. So we are bringing expertise and equipment which they do not have, and we're usually welcomed with open arms. But finding conditions in Africa just brings home to us how lucky we are to be living in an environment where we have the medical facilities that we do have in South Africa.
The crew reaches Lilongwe in Malawi to collect an elderly patient who has suffered a mild heart attack. Flight Dr. Fani Hutting is briefed by hospital staff.
He felt his legs feeling numb and felt just a little woozy. That was it. Went back to bed, got up in the morning, got dressed, just felt...
We're very dependent on the capabilities of the aircraft. If we are flying out of Africa with a very unstable patient, you need to be at the cutting edge of your game. You need to have your treatment techniques, etc., at your fingertips. Your patient is in an enclosed environment at altitude. You can't take him anywhere. You can't drop out of the sky to the closest hospital. Your patient is totally dependent on you to save his life and keep him alive until you do reach an area where definitive care is possible.
The patient, a 90-year-old American national, will be flown back to Johannesburg for treatment aboard India Charlie uniform.
Working on an aircraft this size is actually a pleasure. On the smaller aircraft, it's confined spaces. You're working at altitude, which changes the flight physiology to a large extent. There are certain actions that you need to take and things that you need to do when it comes to patient care, which are different than to working on the road or in a hospital environment.
This is not typical Highveld weather during winter, as the crew touches down on a chilly 10 degrees Celsius runway.
This is most likely one of the best, most challenging, yet most rewarding work environments that one could possibly have.
It is the dedication and training of flight crews that helps maintain the professional profile of Netcare 911 flight operations. Visitors from abroad continue to visit destinations across Africa, secure in the knowledge that, should the need arise, South African pilots and medical crews would respond to ensure their safety.